bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up. Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down. But the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. Solar. Power up.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk49 live on BucksReport.com. That is powered by 320 Solar. Make sure you go to 320solar.com and put the power back into your pocket. Check out Frank Ammons and the gang over there and switch over to solar power and take back the power and save yourself on your electric bill. And always make sure to check out Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America, America's largest medical marijuana doctor network with over 2,500 state licensed doctor in all 32 states. Medical marijuana is legal. Also, My Cannabis Card effectively links new patients with the closest state licensed medical marijuana doctors near them, while also saving up to 30% on evaluation costs. Just mention myself or Bucks Report. And last but definitely not least, make sure to check out the Eat, watch games, or get involved in interaction with other fans of all over, not just Bucks fans period, at the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. Make sure to check them out. Cedric gives away prizes and all that type of stuff there, and you can win a car there as well. Make sure to check them out on their social media page at the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. And as always, let's go down the list. We'll go to what you got today's schedule. And if you haven't done it already, make sure you do it to add me on right here. Make sure to add me at BlakeAnthony49 on Twitter. Follow me. I'll make sure to respond to you. You got questions, answers, videos I post, and all that stuff, which would be awesome. So make sure you do that. But our scheduled lineup for today is also Mondays as usual. We got Ask Me Anything with Nick Citro. You got me at 3 p.m. and then you get the Sports Web wrapping up the night, giving you something to think about later on tonight to put you to bed tonight with Peter Blake and the Sports Web. So today we're going to go over the recap into the game that was Thursday. I know throughout the schedule because, on Monday and Fridays, and I did my pregame on Thursday and, did that. And so we'll get back on schedule this week. We'll go today. We'll talk about it a little bit more. take comments and questions and on phone calls and things like that today. So I didn't put up the line. I'll put it up here shortly here in a second. But I wanted to show you guys some videos and stuff of what you thought about it. First and foremost, congratulations to the Rays. Congratulations to the Stanley Cup 2020 Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay Lightning. I had national anthem singer of the Tampa Bay Lightning on here, Miss Sonia, which was very cool, and she was awesome. Great personality, but great person if you get involved. She does a bunch of other things as well, so make sure to check her out as well. Her videos are posted on my social media, on my Twitter. Check it out. But there's also somebody else, and of course the Rays putting away the Yankees and then winning the first game yesterday against the Astros. But I'm not the only person that wants to talk about that. There's somebody else that has something to say to y'all as well. You may know him from college basketball, you may not, but here it is, Dick Vitale.
The Rays, baby, the Rays. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beat the Yankees. Take that $220 million payroll. Come on, baby. Let's go Rays. Let's go Rays. Let's go Rays.
Dick Vitale. Somebody's excited about the Rays. Dick Vitale, is out there, in the Tampa Bay community. Nobody ever knew about, but Dick Vitale is a huge Tampa Bay supporter. Of course, that. And then we'll talk about also the injuries. I see prayers for Dak. Yeah, we'll get into that when we talk around the NFL with Allison Koehler. When we talk about the Steelers and other NFL and injuries, Vita Vea, what I think will happen with that injury and stuff like that. So we'll get into all that later. Chris, thanks for bringing it up. I don't think you really need to just blame it on Brandy, Mr. Simmons. I think a lot of people, you can't have all those third and longs in that situation. And then you can't blow coverages and block yourself out from pick routes. There's a lot of things wrong, which brings me into, let's talk about it, the breaking point. Here we go.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. Now, what are we going to do?
It's Mike Evans there in the slot. Good protection. Vaughn. Incomplete. Big hit by Kyle Fuller, and now a flag is thrown very late.
That's my breaking point right there. And why you say that Bucks were up 13-7 at that point in time? I say that because me and Eric were talking about it before. I was thinking about it beforehand, is that it's the same situation pretty much last week against the Chargers, where the Chargers gave up a turnover right before halftime. The Bucks were trying to put up points as well. Unfortunately, Vaughn made the catch and got hit and gave up the ball, and a turnover gave, at that point, you gave momentum to Chicago. The Bucks had Chicago's momentum gone. They were out of that game, and I think it was that point that you gave Chicago Bears the belief that they could win that game. You gave them hopes that they could win that game and come through and do the things that they did and take advantage of our blitzes, of Tampa Bay's blitzes, and get them in third. Well, a lot of it was the Bucks put themselves in third and long situations. I mean, I like, that's what I was saying earlier, Mr. Simmons. I don't want to screw up your first name. You can't just put that on him. You had all those 3rd and 17, 3rd and 27, and then you could get yards, and then you bring it right back with a dumb penalty over and over. You are not going to beat the Chicago Bears in third and longs. They only rushed 4, and with that 4, you saw the amount of pressure that they were able to apply in that game. So you can't just put it all on Brady. He needs to do better. They all need to do better. Them receivers should have came through when they needed to. They needed to find ways to get open when Tom Brady actually had time to throw the ball. Everybody has to perform. I know the quarterback's the one guy that holds the ball, but you saw Brady didn't turn over the ball. In past regimes with other quarterbacks at the helm, there might have been a couple turnovers that game, but he didn't turn the ball. He did everything in his power to not cost himself to cost the team the game in that situation, and that's why they were in it to the bitter end with an ironic victory for the Bears by a former Buccaneer kicker in Carlos Santos. Shocker, ironic that happens. Former Buccaneers come back and they end up getting the last laugh on the team. So it's happened quite too far in between with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of lately with this team. I got a guest down here, Fast Track Cannabis Card of the Clinic. We'll get in here and talk about it a little bit. What's going on, Mr. Eric? How you doing, sir?
How you doing, Blake? Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Just like we were talking about there before, it's just you hit the nail on the head. It's it's the same exact thing that we experienced that we were able to capitalize off of against LA. Down going into the half. We needed a spark. We ended up getting a fumble. It's the same thing they did to us, and that was the turning point. And they ended up giving them the opportunity to be able to go in and score and go into the half with that momentum, that extra spark that they needed, that they ultimately capitalized off of. But it's like you say, the quarterback can only do so much. What were there 70 yards penalties altogether, I believe?
Might have been more than that, but it was a ridiculous number. Something that you're not going to win many games, especially against that defense. It's only so much you can do if these guys are going to constantly create penalties, third and longs, and all that type of stuff. It's just you're not the success rate of that team. Chicago coming into that game, there was 69% of getting teams off the field on third downs, and then you add on the top of it, you're going against the odds of 3rd and 17s, 3rd and 27s. You're not going to convert those third downs. So I don't know what you were expecting from Tom Brady to convert those, and then on top of it, Khalil Mack getting 3 sacks, giving Tristan Wirfs every cent of his dollar, and Donovan Smith, getting worked against the best pass rushers in the league as usual. But it's just too much odds to overcome with Tom Brady being 43 years of age. I said that before coming in here. I'm like, Tom Brady's gonna get you, comeback victories. He's gonna get you those passes that you need to get the offense going. But if you're really relying on him to constantly pull you out of 3rd and 27s and 3rd and 17s, you seriously got things messed up, because that's not what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that can't be obviously every game. And we started off, firing on all cylinders. It was amazing. Go up 13, to nothing. Looked really, really sharp, and ended up just and it's hard to say why that took place. I was asking your opinion earlier because there was a few plays that I ended up missing, Not to digress, but do we know exactly what happened? I know that obviously the consensus, at least online, was that Brady didn't know it was 4th down. Didn't they ask Arians? And they asked Brady? Did they clear up whether he actually knew it was 4th or not?
I think Brady said that they thought he miscounted the down. Sometimes that happens when you spike the ball, you lose track of it, and that's what happened when you spike the ball. That people lose track of it.
Sure.
Somebody in his ear could have told him it was 3rd down as well, and he probably could have.
Because Vaughn thought it was. I believe that was Vaughn was wide open for a 1st down. So you'd have to think. You have to think that there was something there. It's just one of those things. But it's still early in the season. We're still sitting nice in the division. There's still a lot of good things that came out of that. Look, Rojo with Fournette.
yards.
Yeah, exactly. What is that? The 3rd game in a row with 100 yards.
Back-to-back 2 games.
Yeah, 111. And then how many do you have this week?
106 with 17 attempts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's some silver linings there. But then you take some you take some obviously some heat with Vita breaking his leg out for the season. That's massive.
Mm-hmm.
What was it I saw? The Bucs make a push today for another lineman.
Damian Harris, somebody had said at the beginning of the year, he said he'd rather stay on the practice squad in Seattle than to come to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Jeez.
With the Jets for many years, their nickname was Snacks.
Yeah. What does that say, that he'd rather be on a practice squad in Seattle than come?
He might like where he's at and don't want to up and move and come to Tampa. I could be could be a bunch of intangibles that I don't know. You'd have to ask him why exactly he would rather do that. So
yeah, because he's not. Money wise, what are they making on the practice squad? Around,
not much. Usually the minimum is what, 250,000 at most.
Sure. Yeah. And so who's taking Vita's spot right now? Who's it
would be Nacho.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you think about him? In general, I don't know too much about him.
From what I heard in camp all off season, he's definitely put on some more muscle mass. He's not as chunky as he used to be. He's leveled up his game a little bit, and he's the ultimate trash talker and gets people motivated, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting having him on the field versus Villa, who just shows with his play.
Sure.
But when I looked up broken ankles, in some cases it takes about 6 weeks for the bone to heal. Then
Was it an ankle?
Yes, ankle, and then possibly depending
I
on
read leg.
with the ligaments and everything, it could possibly take 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So the Buccaneers bye week is week 13, if I'm not mistaken, and they could come back possibly near the end of the season or playoffs if they make
playoffs,
it. They could make it at the end of the season and have a return, depending on what his recovery process
Sure.
is. And like Dak Prescott,
Lord,
after what happened with him, the bone broke from his skin, so I'm not sure how that. Yeah, what's going to happen with that? Yeah, it's rough to see that, and it's just
the emotion on his face too. It's he was on a franchise this year, correct?
Correct. It said it comes back to bite him, not signing that long-term deal in Dallas. And then
I hate to say it, but after wondering if he was going to get up or not, that was the first thing I had to think about. I said, man, could you imagine being in that spot, laying down, knowing? I mean, I've had injuries, you've had injuries, and you have an injury. I've never had injury, that serious, but I've had injuries where I knew something was broken. I knew there was some damage. Could you imagine being there, starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, the whole contract debacle, and then getting franchised, basically betting on himself? You remember back when Joe Flacco did that, and he hasn't done anything since. But I gave him a lot of props when he did that year in Baltimore, when he turned down the money and said, no, I'm going to bet on myself. He took the franchise, and he ended up winning a Super Bowl and getting paid because of it. So you just imagine, you could see his face just overcome with emotion, all of that pouring through his mind as he laid on the field. It's just it's sad to see.
Yeah, it's definitely sad to see. And then
he was leading the league. Wasn't he leading the league in passing?
Oh, Dak.
Yeah.
He had to be pretty much up there because a lot of the games.
I think he led the league. If it wasn't first, he couldn't have been any further down than third.
He had to be around there because they've been putting a lot of passing yards up because they had to come back in a lot of games. So if he's not first, he's around there.
Yeah.
And my Aaron Rodgers might be up there. I'm not sure. Or Russell Wilson. Those guys been a lot of top passers in this league. It might be Russ.
Yeah.
But he's close. He's not far behind it.
What did you think about I know we touched on it, before the show. What about the whole Brady and Nick Foles? Brady leaving
not shaking hands thing.
Yeah.
You'll never convince me. I mean, I know everybody wants to give him praise. Tom Brady, leader this, leader that. I've taken a lot of whoopings in my life in the game, and I shake hands at the end of the game.
Always shake hands. Look, I get it. Yeah.
If you can do that in the win after you beat somebody, you need to do the same exact thing when you lose.
Yeah, and I believe he did that in the Super Bowl as well, if I remember correctly. When Foles beat him. So so far, Foles has had his number, which is it's one of those things, And I mean, you could just see the frustration. We've never. I mean, there are many variables that obviously play factors there. The coming to a team on a short notice, no preseason, and then on top of that, COVID, and then I mean, you could just see the frustration. We've never seen Brady that irate. Publicly.
COVID ain't got. I mean, everybody wants to use that excuse every week. COVID's got nothing to do with you getting rocked and fumbling the ball. It's got nothing to do with you constantly holding somebody. It's got nothing to do with you just getting dominated by top pass rushers. I mean, that excuse only goes so far. Those 400 reps.
And I understand that, but rapport are rapport. You know what I mean? Yeah. To a certain extent, having a certain amount. Rapport with each other on the field, knowing what the man to the left and the right of you is, doing. That helps. That's what preseason is there for. So with no preseason,
But I find that so contradictory because everybody was just on boat 6 months ago and getting rid of the preseason. So when I hear everybody come back and everywhere else try to sit here and tell me that 400 reps suddenly matters, I kind of got to laugh. Because just 6 months ago, we don't need it. It's pointless. There's no point of playing 4 weeks. Oh, and then here, lo and behold, you lose a game. Well, they missed out on 400 reps. Oh, so it's important now at your convenience. It's important at your convenience suddenly. So
how long ago are you talking about with the NFLPA agreement?
Well, before that, even fans and among others was creeping for so long. Like the rumor was Millens for so long that about preseason and people, I don't want to go to meaningless games and all this stuff like that. Like, it's not meaningless for people trying to make a roster. It's not meaningless for guys that's never played against each other. These 400 reps. I've said that since day one. It's just, how many
players have we seen? Like, I mean, you got to think off the top of my head. I remember Victor Cruz, and there's
numerous guys. The list is astronomical. The guys that come from that,
and then they get their time in the light, and they make it happen. So it is instrumental. I agree. I do.
It's not you. It's just saying that just for whoever's listening. It was just not long ago. Everybody was complaining about preseason and how meaningless it is. And then it's just funny that you use that same excuse of not having preseason when your team loses a game. You lose all credibility with me. I'm just going to look at you like I don't want to hear what you got to say. Because you was just on the boat to get rid of it. Now, lo and behold, when it doesn't work in your favor, now it's important. Now 400 reps matter. To me, 400 reps don't matter if you can catch the ball or can't catch the ball. Ronald Jones sat up here on social media for weeks talking about he caught 100 passes at that little get together he was getting to. He's still dropping passes. So if you can catch the ball or you can't catch the ball, the 400 reps ain't gonna make a difference.
Who was it that fumbled the ball, by the way?
It was Keisha Vaughn, and that was pretty much what I said was a turning point as far as momentum in the game.
Sure, absolutely.
Is at the point when the Bucs went up and scored on them early. The Bears, you could see if you rewatch that game, the body language tells you everything. Chicago was just trying to get through the motions and get out of there. And then when they found out they could actually win this game, but the Bucs giving them constant over and over opportunity, they got momentum. Let me look at some of these comments. I know people are blown out. I'm trying not to ignore it. Misador, the penalties were awful, but look at the moments they occur. Yes, the penalties and then the sacks given up. The moments
11 for 70, I believe.
It was like you said, it was when they came up. You're right, and it was big drives when they came up.
There was also some really bad play. There was also some really, really bad calls, by the way.
He said Brady actually pulled a fifth free down in the pass. Yep. We had made more penalty yards than the Bears had rushing yards. Correct. Snacks is beyond done, though. Think about it. The Jets moved on from it. It's just to feel like, of course, that's why I didn't go for him in the beginning, Misador, but he's just a big body that can hold up space. That's pretty much what they want him for. Yep. The team show poor discipline and character. Stuff's going to change. Blocking matters. Deshaun, I already know what you're talking about. I think enough's been said about the left side of that line and the right side for this week. I mean, that's Khalil Mack, man. It's just there's not much about it. There's a play where he got the sack and Tristan was blocking good. That's just a man-on-man play, a Hall of Famer versus a rookie, and it just happens. Vaughn's hit. Welcome to the NFL hit. Yep. Oh, Misador got. He said 11 penalties for 100 yards. So. And the key part of that was when they happened. It was huge drives that these penalties happened. Yeah, it wasn't like they just got a 5-yard penalty in a meaningless part of the game, but these were key drives that steal momentum and to take leads in game. And another part, Jamil Dean needs to make these interceptions because if he catches that interception, the game is over.
The game is over. Yeah,
the game is over. You catch the pick and it just goes right through his hands. Arians and everybody has made jokes about that in the past about his hands and things like that, but Jesus Christ. Let me play a thing and let you check it out. My perspective on a couple of big plays last game. Eric, stand by. You'll see in a second.
Notoriously streaky.
Whitehead takes a bad angle coming on a blitz. Notice he's out of position and takes the wrong angle. He takes it flat instead of taking it upfield to meet Cordarrelle Patterson, and Patterson gets a big gain out of it.
Like he's getting hot. Floats one, Patterson hit in stride, down inside the 5.
Carlton Davis sees this the entire way, picks Shaq Barrett off, and ensuing you see a first down. Shaq Barrett should have took a better angle. He knows he's in man coverage with the running back. Instead, he pass rush upfield just like you saw Whitehead do earlier, and you got the same result. Bad angle for a big play and a big first down.
Just got it away. This is flipped from Montgomery. Perfect throw by Foles. It would be a 40.
The last play I'm showing you here by the Chargers is just to show you that defenses scout each other what works on teams. unfortunately for the Chargers, you had a better player for this play matched up with your running back on this wheel route. And Justin Herbert couldn't get the time and the touch on the throw as Nick Foles could do. Look forward to Green Bay Packers to do the same type of thing here, do rub routes because of the communication depending on the combination of linebacker or cornerback on that side. So this is something the Tampa Bay Buccaneers definitely got to clean up.
There you have it. Big part. And the last one with Shaq Barrett was to pretty much seal up the game for the field goal. Miscommunication, bad angles, and sewing the catch that led to the field goal by former Buccaneer Carrion Santos.
Santos, yep. Yeah. I didn't know that. Like I said, I was actually doing a little bit of history on the Bucks kickers going back and seeing that there was 11 since 2009. And I mean, how many games have we been to, where it's come down to it? Last year, you could argue that there were three that, if the field goal would have gone the other way, the end of the game we could have possibly won those games. So I was doing a little history on that, educating myself on the quote unquote, curse of
kicking
in Tampa. And I saw Santos, and I said, "Wait a minute, is that? It can't be." He said, "Yeah, sure enough, yeah." So, yeah, it's So what's their record right now? They Chicago.
Chicago is 4-1.
4-1. Yeah, they've Lord knows how, right? So you think Foles has the job for the rest of the year?
If you don't turn the ball over and play defense like that on third downs, you can win games. It's been done several hundred times in this league. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, 5-0. Yep. Yep. And Allison, I'm sure she's super excited about that. I mean,
if you could see her, she can't stop smiling. If you could see her.
Tomlin doesn't get enough credit. He
just a year ago, they were talking about firing him. So,
I didn't get it.
I never got it. So what? I said, people don't, like I said, everybody is, what have you done for me lately? And and I said, they don't remember that these times where this team was in disarray and he still found ways to get them to the playoffs
all the time.
With
losing Le'Veon Bell and
dealing with drama issues, and he still found ways to win in this league. And then he has a bad year where your starting quarterback goes out and you want to can him. That's not the time you do that, bud. That's not the time you do that. Who the hell thinks that's going to happen? If anything, if you want to be mad at somebody, be it you're mad at your GM for not having an adequate backup. That ain't your head coach's job. That your backup quarterback sucks. But we'll get around the rest of the league. Yeah, but Eric, let me get a commercial break and we'll get Allison on. We'll talk about around the NFL. I think we beat it to a dead horse with the Bucks-Bears game.
That.
Yeah, we'll go to commercial, show your guys a Fast Track Cannabis Clinics a commercial, and then we'll bring on Allison. We'll talk about around the league stuff. So stand by, sir. There it is. Let me go run to commercial, and I'll get these two on here, and we can talk NFL because we got two more games tonight among all the other games. And I know Allison cannot wait to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers because Lord knows there's a lot to talk about. And the first name starts with a Clay. Well, first part, like you can finish the last part of the name. But let's get to the commercial break and we'll come back.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up. Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down. But the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. .320 Solar. Power up.
And we're back to Sports Talk 49 live on BooksReport.com, powered by 320 Solar. Go to 320solar.com. Make sure to check out mycannabiscard.com and Fast Track Clinics of America, as well as the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. I got a full lobby room. We got to bring them all in, standard as a standard can be. But first, we got to bring in my sister from another mister, Miss Allison.
As Mike Tomlin says, the standard is the standard.
Standard is the standard, and we're going to try to do it as standard as we can be.
Nice.
And we also got Eric from Fast Track Cannabis Clinics.
How you doing, Allison?
How's it going there, man?
And we got one more today, Allison. One more.
One more?
Bringing up our Chicago Bear experts, Mr. Sam Watson, coming out of Charlotte.
Greetings, all.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Greetings.
So we're all going to talk. We're talking about around the NFL and stuff. And I know, Allison, you got a bunch of Steelers stuff to talk about. So by all means, jump in and tell us how your Sunday was.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it was exciting and it was nail biting. You know, I think every week when we talk about the Steelers on the show, nail biting always comes up because Steelers Nation is constantly just like, ooh. I mean, the Eagles came back from 17. They were 17 down, and the Eagles came back on the Steelers and made it a game. Like, I'm getting ready to be like, oh, I'm going to turn it off. Not that I would ever do that, but I just mean I'm going to get to work now. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to kind of watch the game, you know, as the rest of it unfolds. But no, like, literally, as I'm thinking that, Philly's like, score, score, score. This guy named Travis Fulgham. I was like, what the Fulgham? Like, what is going on with this guy? Like, nobody in the Steelers secondary had an answer for him. Nobody. There were 3 different guys at any one point covering him,
right.
You know, including Mike Hilton, Minka Fitzpatrick, Steven Nelson. I mean, nobody could cover this guy, and it was like, who is this guy to begin with, and why is he doing this to us?
It seems like the Steelers are having problems with backup quarterbacks, just like we were talking about earlier with Justin Herbert when he come in for starting quarterback Tyrod Taylor. So, you know, so this, I mean, but the good thing is Ben had a great game, 27-34, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns. Claypool had a rookie day, 7 receptions for 110 yards and 3 touchdowns. Can't ask for more.
4 you can actually. He has 4 touchdowns, and it's just
rushing. Excuse me.
One of them was a rushing touchdown. So a lot of people
I thought they said previously his high was like 2 touches.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it just goes to show, like you and I were talking about right after the draft. I was saying, you know, I really was pushing for the Steelers to draft J.K. Dobbins, the running back, and they didn't. And I was like, oh, and I was like, Claypool, like, do we really need another receiver? You know? So you and I talked about I was really hoping that Claypool was going to prove the fans wrong, because I know I wasn't the only one who was advocating for the Steelers to draft Dobbins. But right now, I mean, if you look at it, Claypool has 201 total yards. I'm sorry, this is Dobbins. Dobbins has 201 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Claypool, on the other hand, has 275 total yards and 5 touchdowns, 4 of which we know came yesterday against the Eagles. So
absolutely,
he's already like setting, you know, he set the Steelers rookie record for touchdowns in a game, and he joined a bunch of other guys like Hines Ward. Hines Ward had a 4 touchdown game against the Eagles as well. He wasn't a rookie, so he wasn't the first receiver to do that, but he's just joining all these. His list of accolades from yesterday was like this long. It was wild.
Definitely that. He definitely had it. He's 5-0. They're 5-0. What's better than being 4-0 is 5-0.
They're not 5-0 No, because they had a bye week.
That's right, 4-0. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Remind me that we got our asses beat on the. Jeez.
4-0 against, and that makes the Eagles 1-3-1. You know, I know the Eagles are your hometown team there, Sam. I'm just kidding.
Did you see your face? Yeah, they're still in second place.
That's a shame.
That's insane.
That's a shame. I know you wanted to put some final touches on it. I know you picked the Bears to lose Thursday. Well, I mean, what did they really show you? I mean, what do you think about that whole outcome?
Couple things here. I said this to you before, and I just want to give you the roses while you're here. You're doing a great job, and I really appreciate you, and I'm proud of you and everything you do.
I appreciate that.
The guy before me was absolutely correct. Dak actually has 1,856 yards passing right now, and Russell only has 1,502.
Yeah, he led the league. He was leading.
Yeah, and all they talk about is Russ. As far as the Bears, what I'm gonna say, I'm looking for a prop here, but I don't have it around me. You know,
toilet paper.
You don't need a prop. You won.
Is that the prop you're looking for? Toilet paper.
I'm looking for.
I couldn't help it.
Your prop is a W.
I'm looking for a clock because it's broke. Even if it's broken, it's right twice a day.
That's true. That's true.
You know, and we pulled it out the same way we normally pull out games, but it's still one of those things where you look at it. We beat you guys by 1 on our home field, and you know, you guys didn't have your receivers. There was a few questionable calls. I get the calls, but when are the refs actually going to, you know, look at it the right way? They called the personal foul because it looked like he was going at Nick Foles' head. I don't know if you guys recall.
Remember, they showed the replay. They said it was the shoulder, not his helmet.
Well, Nick Foles is like 6'12" and a half or something. You know?
Yeah.
And the guy was lunging at him, but he wasn't going for head-to-head contact. But you know, I'll take it. But I'm just saying, I'm a football lover. I love my Bears, but I love football, so I call it how I see it. You know, and there was a few errant calls in there, but I'm glad with the outcome. But at the same time, we did a good job in certain phases of calling aggressive plays at certain times. And there was times you could see Nick Foles saying, "Come on, let's go at him." And I don't know if I was talking to you or someone else, but it's like, for me, Nagy just doesn't do it. You know what I mean? And the players sometimes may pull out a victory, but we're pulling out that victory to possibly not make the playoffs or make playoffs and lose. So it really doesn't matter on the back end of it. But we need some leadership. We need some intestinal fortitude. We need somebody that says, "Hey, follow me when I do it." Bruce Arians does that for you guys. You know, now some of the players may not be Bruce Arians. Like, people talk all the time about Tom Brady, and I get long-winded. I think he's great, but in his 6 championships, honestly, the defense held the other teams. You know, in the ones he lost to better defenses.
Correct.
You know, defensive lines kill him. You know what I mean? So there's multiple things you could look at on either side. I'm a humble winner, or you know, I made a bad choice by saying you guys would beat us, but you know, if a coulda, shoulda, woulda, if y'all had Chris, y'all would have beat us. You know.
All right, possibly. I mean, with 11 penalties for 100 yards, who knows what would have happened? You can't win many games like that. And as I told you before, when we talked about it, the Bears are 69% success rate in getting teams off the field on 3rd down. Now you add the intangible 3rd and 11, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 22, and 3rd and 27. You are not going to
yourself, shooting yourself in the foot.
So, what else we got? We got Eric. Eric, I know you wanted to chime in a little bit there.
No, I was just basically agreeing with you. I mean, there's only so much you can do when there's only so much Brady can do when you have a defense like that. You have, I mean, Khalil Mack. I mean, come on, he's arguably the best, defensive, if not one of the best player in the league. I mean, he's always been consistent. He's he's a man amongst boys sometimes out there. So it's what are you going to do? I mean, there 1, 2, 3, 4 things. You have interception that's dropped. Obviously, we had some bad penalties, some pass interference calls that were clearly uncatchable balls. The 4th down debacle with Brady. I mean, so what are you going to do but learn and move forward to Green Bay? But yeah, you should be pretty happy, in Chicago. I mean, to think with all the controversy surrounding your head coach and the Trubisky being, coddled and all that, for them to be where they're at right now is just, I don't know if it's luck, but you take it any way you can, in that division, especially right now.
Most definitely. And then you got to play another person in the NFC North, Green Bay, coming next Sunday. So that's going to be tough with that high-powered offense.
Hey, can I chime in real quick? Is it Zadarius Smith? You say what you want about Khalil Mack, and he does a great job, and I love him to death. Zadarius Smith has quiet kept put together a heck of a 3 years.
And he was a guy coming out of what was that? The Shrine Game. He was a Shrine Game player of the game that week. So I know a lot of people look at those Shrine Games as much. And I just want to bring up to back up previously we talked about preseason games. These guys come out of nowhere, and Zadarius Smith has clearly identified himself as one of the top pass rushers in the league, in my opinion.
And I'm in agreement with you about that whole preseason thing. This isn't the 60s NFL, the 70s NFL, the 80s NFL, even the 90s NFL, where, guys in the off season would go from 210 pounds to 280 and then trim back down and have to get into football shape. These guys are extreme athletes nowadays, and they're 25-8 in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Even though football shape,
man. I mean, the Steelers really trimmed down tremendously. A lot of their players, and Blake and I, this is again something we talked about earlier, in the offseason. A lot of teams had plans, because they couldn't be there with the team to work out and be under their direct supervision. A lot of the teams just their people were like giving them certain plans. Everybody got a different kind of health plan, and they came so many different players from Deontay Johnson down, trimmed up, put on muscle, did whatever that specific player had to do, that the trainers thought, hey, if you do this, it could really change your game. And it's pretty amazing. I think we're seeing now with the way that the players are playing and the injuries that are happening, which teams really maybe took those extra steps, to make sure that even though they couldn't be with their teams in the off season, that they were being as productive as possible with their time away from the facility.
Right. We're talking about calls, Allison. You want me to show a clip of that Steelers, that pass interference call?
Yeah, you guys were talking about pass interference penalties earlier. I mean, the penalties yesterday were just outrageous in the Steelers-Eagles game. There were 17 total penalties, 86 yards of penalties for the Steelers, and 84 for Philly. This was called pass interference.
Don't look like it to me.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think if anything, needs the preseason, it's the damn referees.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm in agreement with you there.
I'm joking.
Do you see a push off there?
Oh no.
Do I?
Yeah,
he's just getting around the guy to catch. And
maybe it was the angle.
How hockey has penalties for embellishing. I really think they, not just because of this one, there's been a bunch. Like a couple weeks ago, Pat Mahomes, like he went bounds and like did this Emmy award winning flop, and
the last thing we want to turn into is the NBA.
Right.
I've been seeing a lot of that.
They need to penalize.
You guys seeing this replay where he actually falls, he trips over the receiver's foot down there at the bottom.
Does he even I think he just he does do it there. Okay. Yeah, so he falls.
That's still not pass interference. That's just you bad feet.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it's like either way, and it's it was like for a third down. So they ended up, and they weren't field goal range, so they had to punt. And it's like these are the kind of things, and it's not just with the Steelers. They're like, oh, you're Steelers. There were calls against the Eagles yesterday that were phantom. There's calls every week, and there's even another play later where Ebron fumbles the ball. Right? They actually end up calling it incomplete pass, but what he does is he fumbles the ball, and they call it So he fumbles the ball. It hits the ground. Philadelphia picks it up, and they call it an interception. They totally were like, interception, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, first of all, that's not an interception. That's totally fun. It hit the ground. It's not an interception. He totally fumbled the ball. But, yeah, I mean, thankfully, they got a call on it because otherwise, it would have been 2 fumbles for Eric Ebron in the game yesterday. And it's just like, he's known for drops. He has like 40 of them in 6 years since he's been a rookie.
I love him.
But this was only his second fumble of his career, so we've got to, put the.
I'm sure you do love him, Sam. He played for the Lions and played the Bears twice this season, so I knew you're going to say that.
Right, when he played for the Colts.
My question is what is there any accountability? Is there a system, protocol, procedure in place? I know that the Super Bowl officiating is supposed to be, isn't it supposed to be, the cream of the crop? What is the structure of that? Does anybody know? Is that all?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, Blake can add to this. I mean, they definitely have meetings daily, weekly.
They have a grading system.
Correct.
Is it public? Is that's all public?
Sam will probably be the best answer because I know he has a lot of insight on that. Sam,
well,
nice.
I looked into becoming an NFL referee actually, so you got to go through a certain level of.
You got to arm wrestle at Hercules. That's a tough.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Sam.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
I see you, Sam. I see you.
So it's a point system, and actually, they can take. They normally group them together. So when you see a certain referee, you'll normally see an umpire.
A sidekick. Yeah.
And they normally have a group that works well together, but they also have alternative refs in the stadium, just in case someone goes down. In the NFL, they actually have, I believe it's 6 referees now, or not referees, but the different positions. And with that said, each one of them has a scoring system. So some people will be like, well, why didn't the ref call the holding? Well, it's a certain referee that has to call a holding in a certain situation. Even if they see it, it's not their job, so they could play that, hey, it's not my call. So it's like it's
compartmentalized to a certain extent. Yeah. So, but is that public information? Is the grading system public information? Can you look up like for instance, so did the clip that Blake just played, did that, whoever didn't call or called that, how do we know what happens, or do we not know? Is that all insider? Or?
I believe it's all insider. I haven't researched that far with it, but
I give him an F.
About that's kind of like
I'm grading him, and I give him an F.
That's kind of like the whole political system, that's any system. The police are going to say, hey, we justly know what we did, or we can justify what we did as long as none of you guys actually want the support for it. The referees are going to say, hey, you ever listen to Mike Piero on his calls? And he's like, well, rule 42.6-B says the intent. And how can you say what he intended? Being a former D-back, and the fact that you said toilet paper, I'm going to take my glasses off and say I saw a pass interference.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. I love that.
When he took it off.
Way to come back on that.
Man.
You've been thinking this the whole time. Like I'm talking, you're like, when can I use this particular line? It's gonna come in here somewhere. That's awesome.
For that
he had it wrote down.
Yeah, right.
That's a good one.
I know we talked about preseason stuff. Are you guys in agreement that from here on out, this NFL needs to keep preseason, or should they go on track like they were shorting it?
They have to. I personally, I think you have to. You have to, like we talked about earlier. It's not about the vets. For the most part, it's about the guys that are on the practice squad, the guys the rookies that get the opportunity to shine, and because they're coming in as underdogs, they have chips on their shoulder and they go above and beyond and perform. And like you said, how many times have we seen players like that you've never heard of? it may not be all the time, but there's been plenty of stories.
Example. Yeah, you know what? I kind of think not to cut you off. I think they should have to, like, as easy as it is this season to say, "Oh, screw the preseason. This is fine." You know what I mean? I think that they really need to have one game where just the practice squad bubble guys play. You know what I mean? To see that, not just them. I mean, to see them play, and then one game for the vets to get back in
versus rookies. And yeah, that's not a bad idea. I've never even heard of that idea before. That's not a bad idea. But yeah, but it's instrumental in my opinion, because remember we talked before the season even began on how many injuries do you think is going to happen, because you got to think these players are. I mean, I don't care what you do. Professionally, what you do in your spare time, what you do during the day, there's nothing that can replicate the speed of the NFL. There's nothing that can replicate that rapport that you built with the men to the left and the right of you if you played football, and you understand that. So it's there's nothing that can replicate that. So and look at the injuries that is it a coincidence? Or is this a conditioning issue? Where the truth really lies, no one really knows. But look at all the damn injuries.
I don't know. I don't know if preseason games would actually help you or help you not with injuries. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. I know Sam might feel different. Sam might have a different point of view, but and also what we were talking about earlier plays into it with refs as well. And they needed maybe they needed some of those, because some of these calls we're talking about having here, they had nothing to go with.
Exactly.
Freeman, you want to chime in, Sam? I see you down there with the face.
So the NFL is a business. And in that business, I believe they made a great move this year by extending the practice squad so you have players available.
What did they extend it to, if you don't mind me asking? Do you know if
it went from 8 to 15?
Yeah, okay. And they can protect 4 every week, but that's just for COVID. I mean, it is right now. They may end up doing something like that.
Adopt it permanently, yeah.
But I still think it's a great move. Now,
I do too.
Derwin James, top 3, top 4 strong safeties in the league right now, was injured just walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's part of the game. One thing that I disliked about the NFL until recent years was the Super Bowl was always played on a turf, or it was played somewhere warm like Tampa Bay. And what that does is that provides a competitive advantage for certain teams. Whereas let this game be the game, protect the purity of the game. If the field is wet, the field is wet. If the balls aren't inflated, they're not inflated.
That's not our fault. He wasn't here yet. And if you look back, we were busting, no pun intended, we were busting balls back then.
No, but where I'm going with this is all of these things factor into the games.
A lot of variables, you're right.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't like about not having a preseason is seeing actually great football at the start. Right now, we're getting into that great football. We're getting into the less injuries and actual real players. Now, another thing I'm going to say is I like giving the guy a chance. I got a personal friend. His name is Jerome Harrison. You guys never heard of him, have you? He played running back on the Cleveland Browns and Philadelphia Eagles and Pittsburgh.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But why was he in the NFL? Because I'm going to be honest with you, he's about 5'7.5" and maybe 175 pounds playing running back. He was fast, but he wasn't 4.4 fast. He was 4.49, 4.50 fast. But the NFL is a business. The NFL is a business. So you get that guy who you got Reuben Drones, you got Jamal Lewis, then you got this guy nobody's ever heard of because his paycheck is smaller.
So are you from Cleveland, Sam?
Hell no.
You're right.
I just wondered why you knew. I wondered why you knew the Browns so well, or how you knew the Browns so well.
I know a bunch of different people. I know Donovan McNabb. I know, I know players you guys never heard of. You know,
No, that's the thing. You're naming off like Reuben Drones and all. Like you named just 3 guys right there that played for the Browns at one point in their career. That's why I thought it was like.
We know that your old home team.
Yeah, well, I was born there, so I followed. I followed them. You couldn't not follow Cleveland.
Sorry about that.
I didn't root for them at all. Thank you. Unless they played the Ravens or the Bengals, I didn't. When they do that, hell yeah, I'm a Browns fan for a day. That's for sure. You can count me in on that because.
Well, the Ravens are the Cleveland Browns, aren't they?
Correct.
They are now.
The Ravens are the Cleveland Browns. Correct. Yes, that's true.
Yes, yeah.
That's
but for
true.
the longest time, Cleveland sucked. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, well, they're not a threat to us, so it's totally fine if they beat the Bengals, who are a threat to us, or if they beat the Ravens, who are a threat to us. And by us, of course, I mean.
I thought you meant Browns.
So I'm a Bears fan throughout, but I'm realistic. So I even, said that I believe Tampa Bay would win the game. I love the game of football more than I love the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So I know multiple people and multiple, I'll name stuff that no one really cares about.
Yeah. Oh, you used to be a former teammate with Brian Dawkins.
Yeah.
D-Doc. That's pretty cool, man.
I know Sam doesn't like to toot his own horn stuff. He was my go-to in my rookie season back in the day. That was my guy. I remember. I'll never forget it like it was yesterday. Sam, the one piece of advice you gave me, you said, "Blake, you playing really great." He said, "But you keep on making plays. I'm gonna keep telling you that you ain't nothing."
Motivation. And look, now that I'm older, all I keep saying is how great you are.
I thought you brought up a really good point though about the advantages, advantages of where the Super Bowl's played, and so that is, I mean, it's randomized to an extent. What the Super Bowls are laid out, what is it, a decade in advance, 5 years in advance,
something like 5 years, but it has to do with that. It has to do with money. It has to do with a nice weather city or place.
Oh yeah, well, and infrastructure as well. Because look, I before I moved to Tampa a decade ago, I lived in Jacksonville, and I was there when the Super Bowl was there, and I remember the NFL told Jacksonville that flat out, we'll never have another Super Bowl here again until you fix your infrastructure.
Right.
So it's obviously there's a lot going into that, and I probably think that the Super Bowl and being here in Tampa this year had a lot to do with Vinnick and Gates rebuilding Channelside and all the money that was being poured into the city, and
that's why I really hope they have some people here. I hope they allow some people at the Super Bowl.
They will. But
not to the extent that they're the Tampa. I mean, years ago, these buildings, everything started. They building buildings and constructing buildings and all these hotels and all these restaurants, and it's like they're expecting hundreds of thousands. And that's not going to happen. So I sort of feel bad.
But places like
there's a lot of money that went into it for sure.
Places like Chicago and Blitzburg, we don't get the Super Bowl.
Right, exactly.
Baltimore doesn't get the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Baltimore deserves the Super Bowl.
Detroit got one.
Detroit got one. Yeah.
Detroit got one. And everybody complained about how cold it was and scary it was, and it's just like never again. And
But I think the point Sam was trying to get at was you're evening the playing field by mixing up where you're playing the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. It's randomized.
Hence, if you're a team that's already used to playing in warm weather, that's good for you. I said, but if you're not used to playing in Detroit, Chicago, Pittsburgh weather, and it's part of the game.
If you build a speed team like the LA Rams and you beat the better team like the Tennessee Titans, who had an actual football team, and if you put those two teams on a cold turf in the winter,
sure,
if you put them on a rainy turf at any point in the year, or even if you put them outside, Tennessee is going to come out winning 8 times out of 10. But just because you were on turf with 70-degree weather inside, St. Louis could throw it all over the field, you know.
And I think that's the reason that also I don't think you'll ever see another, outdoor stadium built again. I mean, look at SoFi and then look, the Death Star. I mean, look at these. I mean, it was just insane to see and to know how much time and energy and money and resources went into building these amazing football stadiums. And then, the opening of the season, you see them empty. I mean, it was just, you talk about eerie. I mean, could you imagine being the owners of these teams? Like, we did all of this for nothing. I mean, that you want to talk about a letdown, but that's also a financial decision too, because New York, the Giants and the Jets did it. In New Jersey, where they share the resources of one. It makes sense from a business standpoint to be able to merge resources and have two teams.
First of all, those owners are fine. They're not hurting at all, and eventually get it back. COVID isn't going to last forever, and because fans couldn't go to these stadiums, they're just going to want to go more.
Even more. No, and you're right. It was just odd seeing it. It was really like I was talking to Blake earlier. I'm actually born in Los Angeles. I was grew up in LA until in like 2000 or so. Moved to St. Augustine, and ultimately to North Florida, and then migrated to Tampa.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. And actually, I think it was you, Allison, that said that you're from Cleveland. Is that what you said? But you hated the Browns.
Yeah,
I was the same way with the Jaguars. I was the same way with the Jaguars, basically.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But ultimately, I ended up, you have to root for the home team. And,
so I got a question. That's a hot topic right now. That I'm surprised none of us even brought it up because we probably got so caught up. What do y'all think about Dan Quinn getting fired and then passing over Dirk Cutter for the head coaching job and gave it to Raheem Morris? You guys can go. Whoever wants to go first on that one, go for it.
Well, Dirk Cutter's already been there, done that. Why would you know what I mean?
Raheem.
Yeah, they went to Raheem as interim coach.
Yeah, I mean, so
that's
Raheem.
What should have happened.
He's
That's what should happen. I mean, Dirk Cutter's already burnt his candles from both ends of the stick. And then he came to Tampa and paid homage to Mike Smith and made him, I would. You remember when it happened? I didn't agree with it. I thought he was just being loyal to who put him on in the beginning.
A lot of coaches do that. That's called politics. Is what Sam said earlier. That's called politics.
I love it. I get it. Loyalty, politics. I get it. But yeah, Raheem absolutely, I think, should have got the job over Cutter.
That's the thing. I'm trying to look it up now, but Raheem Morris, he's been there, done that too, and his record is
way better than Cutter's. He had a winning season with a worse roster.
He had one winning season, but were his numbers like not all that great, like overall?
Oh, you talking about Raheem?
Yeah.
If you're talking about,
you have it there, Allison. I don't know off the top of my head.
It up.
Yeah.
Well, so I actually mentally, I had already wrote Dan Quinn off 3 weeks ago.
A lot of people did.
3 weeks.
Yeah, so the fact that he just got fired is almost news to me. Because to me, I'm like, seriously, how the hell is
it too much?
I'm upset, and I'm going to tell you why. On Thursday, I said to you guys that both Nagy and Dan Quinn should have been fired on the field after the Bears.
On the field, yeah, they should start that. They should make a halftime show of it. No, seriously. I mean, let's make a halftime show of it. Let's make a celebration out of it.
And I'm mad because we still have Nagy, but they got to get rid of Quinn.
Yep.
Yeah. I say not to digress, but anytime I talk about the Jaguars, I'm digressing. But the Jags are going through a similar thing where, I mean, there's also some other variables there that play factors. You have Shad Khan, who he's not a seasoned NFL veteran. This is a businessman. He invented and patented a piece that basically goes.
Johnny Dean says, didn't Raheem's defense give up those leads?
Ooh, yeah. But you think about Jacksonville. Do you remember what happened with Tom Coughlin? Right? They brought Tom Coughlin back. They ended up making it they put the team together. They ended up making it the AFC Championship game, and then self-destructed after that. The NFLPA did something unprecedented after all of the fines and I had no one had any idea, and everyone knew that Tom Coughlin was a old school type of coach. This guy had I don't know how many fines it was. He was fining people left and right. Shad Khan should have cleaned house then. He should have fired everybody. As soon as that letter came out, they basically told free agents to not consider Jackson or to think twice before they consider Jackson.
So, Allison, you said you got that Raheem stat ready, right?
Yeah, so he's 17-31. He had that 10-6 season. Other than that, he's won 7 games. But it's 3 seasons. I don't know.
What's Cutter's record? What's Cutter's record?
I was just getting ready to say I don't know his. I'm gonna look.
It can't be much better. And Raheem had worse roster. Way worse roster. Do you remember? Does anybody even remember who Freeman's receivers were? Exactly my point.
Way back then. What's that?
Somebody says you said something, Eric.
No. At that point, I was listening to the stat. You said he won 7 games total, Allison?
Well, no. So he went 10-6, and then he won 7 more. Like he had 10-6 season, but overall he's 17-31. Dirk Cutter is 19 for 20. Has a record of 19-29. So it's not. He's 2 games worse.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we want the Falcons to do bad, but I just Dirk Cutter was also another Jacksonville minion. He was in Jacksonville before. So when Cutter got hired in Tampa, Blake remembers, I wasn't interested in him at all. So I never liked Cutter. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people were. You're right. I did say I asked a question. I didn't mean to interrupt. Is Lovie Smith employed anywhere right now?
Yeah, he's with the Illinois. He's changing that program around. I know a lot of people keep giving him crap. They were like, he can't win. I'm like, do you realize what conditions Illinois got there? It was
did he get hired like 2 years ago?
He got extended actually recently.
Okay.
And then they're winning bowl games now, actually putting money back into the university. So when a lot of guys try to take shots at Lovie Smith about Illinois, I'm like, I don't think you know what's really happened to that program before he's got there. The last player you can remember is Juice Williams.
You remember when Lovie was here, and I actually really took my hat off to Lovie because he when he got let go, in Chicago, he took a year off, and instead of just sitting, he put a plan together and methodically reached out to every coordinator that he would potentially hire, anticipating that he would get a head coaching spot, and he did. And he already had everybody. You remember he had the guy from Cal, and he ended up having a heart attack. Was
Tedford, Deshaun Jackson's old coach.
Yep, Tedford.
And never coached.
He was flying people out on his own dime basically, and putting a plan together. Then he ended up coming here, and you remember the first year was bad, and then they ended up giving Cutter the job because
he was going to go to the Eagles.
Quarterback. Yeah, well, didn't they say he was the quarterback? They were attributing Winston's success to Cutter, and they didn't want Cutter to get hired as a head coach.
Well, that they didn't want to lose him to Philadelphia, which I know Philadelphia won't complain because they got a Super Bowl out of it.
Sure.
And
so they let Lovie go prematurely.
Yeah, Lovie came into that spot, and I've talked to Lovie when we were at investors meeting. I got to have personal conversations with Lovie Smith and the younger Levante David. And Lovie, what he told me is that he told them when he got this job that he said it was going to be a 3-year transition.
Absolutely.
He said this team, in his words, he said they are not a Super Bowl winning team. So he needs 3 years to build this team. And when did they have a winning season? With the 3rd year after you fired him, they gave Dirk Cutter the praise for what he built or what tried to build in that program. And what Dirk Cutter do since then? The team digressed after you gave him full reign to that team. So because he had no plan.
Yeah. Yep. No. Yeah. I couldn't agree more with that.
The Falcons move was a long time coming for sure. I mean, Dan Quinn, from what I understand, he can coach. He's a
Defense.
great coach. He can coach men, but obviously his time just ran out. He didn't. Well, they've had a laundry list of injuries this year. Not that that's any excuse, but they're playing with like their third and fourth string guys everywhere, pretty much. So it's hard to win in those circumstances. And Matt Ryan has actually had a fairly decent season. I wasn't prepared to talk about the Falcons, so I don't really know exactly his stats, but
that's perfectly fine.
What's that?
That's perfectly fine. Not prepared to talk about the Falcons. There ain't much to talk about.
Well, yeah. I mean, so it's true. It's true. So it was just a surprise, I think, when I heard the news come down that they got rid of both.
It was a long time coming.
Right, it was, and Quinn. So
you hired a defensive coach from Seattle to come in here giving up big leagues and allowing people to dive on onside kicks. Like I could go on forever with Dan Quinn. There's just too much.
The Super Bowl alone, in my opinion, that Super Bowl. Yeah. Now, was Dan Quinn responsible for putting the Legion of Boom together?
They give him credit for that. I'm gonna give it to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll knows how to. He knows how to.
Oh, of course.
What do you got inside, Sam? You got that face like you know something.
No,
the defensive coordinator.
You got the right players at the right times, and what they did was they fed off of each other. And Scottie Pippen wasn't Scottie Pippen until Scottie Pippen said, "Hey, I like this guy, Michael. Let me follow his lead." Michael didn't become Michael until Michael said, "You know what? I cannot do it by myself."
Batman and Robin.
So Richard Sherman,
he's
all here. Earl Thomas, he's all here. Cam, he was all, Cam was a knucklehead here in North Carolina, but, he's all man. You know what I mean? So it all came together. And actually, Brandon Browner was who they had before all of them.
Correct. He's the original.
And he was a different type of corner than what the league was looking for. I played at Clemson, and when I went there, my coaches kept telling me, "You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. You're too small." And the first thing the defensive back coach said to me, Ron Dickerson, he said, "I like you. You're a walk-on. I can't play you because I paid these guys to go here, but I like your size." And I was like, "Oh, my coaches told me I was too small." He said, "We're looking for corners that can run under big receivers, who can bait quarterbacks because the quarterbacks can't see them." So all of it is business. All of it is business. All of it is whose plan you're looking at. Now, they say all these guys, and I'm talking about the Bears, but it's in every team. "Oh, this guy is the quarterback whisperer, Mark Trestman. Oh, because he did it in the CFL."
Yep. He's right. People forgot about that.
How long did he last?
3 years.
Did he last 3 years?
Hey, Allison, I forgot about him. Mark Trestman. Wow.
So it's one of those things where all these people say, "Hey, that guy's a great coach. That guy is a great coach." The coach is a good person if he's making great calls. Bill Belichick. If he could put together a real team and make them feel like a team, that's a great coach. But if you got great players and they're winning games for you and you're not doing anything, you're just Elmer Fudd. You know what I mean? Like Matt Nagy. He has a squad. He doesn't have a great squad, but Matt Nagy isn't coaching for them to win. The Eagles actually, Doug Peterson came in. He knew they had a winning tradition. He actually came from that winning tradition, and he just emphasized it. And he's played to their strengths. That's good coaching. But, I got 3 all-pro players that turned themselves into all-pros, and just because I'm the coach, I'm going to get the credit. That's not good coaching.
Fair enough. I get that.
I am just upset because my football Bible, Pro Football Reference, has started, just as I said it, starts putting ads around the page to the point where you can't, until that ad is done, not a video ad, but just a banner ad, until that ad is done, you can't do anything. You can't
skip it. Yeah.
And it takes up a fourth of the.
What is it? What is the
Pro Football Reference?
Pro Football Reference.
A lot of PFF. If you PFF,
Yeah.
I know everybody's seen that when you Google now that pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of references, what do you guys think about the Browns being 4-1?
Yeah, that's
Are y'all buying or selling?
Well, I remember. It seems like just yesterday I heard everyone saying Odell Beckham isn't going to make it on this team. I mean, literally, it was just a Sports Center. I remember they were like, on every channel basically. Can Odell Beckham be Odell Beckham? Everyone, because the consensus was not in Cleveland, and I don't even know if he. I know he's had a couple plays. I've seen a couple highlights, but I don't know enough about it. But they are 4-1. What do you guys think?
Yeah, they can go to hell. But I think we'll see for sure. Same with Pittsburgh, right? So Pittsburgh's played a bunch of shit teams. They're like a combined 3-15-1 to start the season. So it's the same for the Browns. You know what I mean? They haven't played all that great of opponents. So you have to kind of look. This is going to be a litmus test for both teams on Sunday, whether they're legit or not.
So I like your point that they didn't play anybody. I say that about the Bears. However, Indianapolis, I called that the Bears would lose to Indianapolis because of the strength of the defense playing against that weak offense. Mm-hmm. And I have a 16-year-old son, and before the season, he was like, Cleveland is just Cleveland. They're losers. And the thing about it, I'm going to make a comment about a couple people. Odell Beckham, I like her. She's really good. And she's a great athlete, and she does great things, and she's a team player, but she has to feel like she's part of the team. That's the only issue about her. She has a male ego as far as being part of the team, but she just wants to be a part of the team. And she played with Landry, and they're both really good receivers. And you talk about the guy that I don't really want to go into his history, but the running back, 27.
Kareem Hunt, dude. He's like a chick beater.
Oh, Lord.
So he's doing really well on the football field.
He must listen to Chris Brown.
The starting running back, Nick Chubb, is outstanding. So all the specialty players, David Njoku, is he still with them? But
he's still there for now.
All these guys on paper, they look like a great offensive team. Myles Garrett, I love what he can do with a helmet.
Dude, you're like
he's on a roll, isn't he?
Hey,
you're killing me.
You brought up that Dawkins was, and I'm going off subject now, and I'm tooting a horn, but it's not really tooting my horn. You brought up that I was a teammate of Dawkins, but you didn't bring up the teammate that I actually grew up with, played against all my life, played in high school with, went to Vanderbilt, and took Hardy Nickerson's job.
I kind of left that for you to open up. I didn't know you want to put all your business out there, sir.
So, do any of you guys know who took Hardy Nickerson's job?
That took Hardy in the pros or in Vanderbilt?
In the pros. Which
Sheldon Quarles?
No. Sheldon Quarles went to Vandy after Dunk. Mm-hmm. But Dunk ended up.
That's right. Dunk. Yep.
Yeah, I grew up with Dunk.
Dunkin' Donuts?
No.
Jamie Duncan.
Yep. Jamie Duncan.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
he was Tampa's middle linebacker that in this business, you can say we can let go of Hardy Nickerson because we could pay this younger guy a little less money and he could fill the role. But,
so that there's the case like that. This is what's happening in Pittsburgh, right? So Bud Dupree was in Pittsburgh for 3 seasons before they drafted TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhat good season before first round draft pick. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't like a 3rd round guy. You know what I mean? He basically stunk up the place. TJ Watt comes along, and they're just they're one of the best pass rush duos in the league. But if TJ's not there, I just don't know that Bud is going to be able to be Bud, and we're going to find out because the Steelers aren't going to be able to extend him in the offseason, and they drafted Alex Highsmith to basically, I mean, Highsmith is Bud Dupree, but he could be. You know what I mean? Like he has the potential. He's played in some games this season. So I think we're going to see, what's going to happen, in that situation.
Absolutely. I know Fast Track Cannabis, you got to get out of here. I know you want to plug yourself in real quick.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, great meeting you, Sam. Allison, always great. Blake doing a great job. Just want to let everybody know, anybody watching, qualify to get your medical marijuana card. 3 easy steps, qualify in just about 15 minutes or less, virtually, basically from the comfort of your home and your smartphone. There's about 50 qualifying conditions. And, we believe in plants over pills, no hassle, judgment and obligation-free pre-qualifications. Look for the mobile app, which should be hitting the Android and Apple Play Store within the next month. And, anybody looking to implement a medical marijuana treatment plan, needs education, has any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us, mycannabiscard.com. Take a look at the social media page. And, we're here to help. Keep doing a great job, guys, and go Bucs.
Appreciate it. Take it easy.
Bye.
There we have it. So, we lost track there. So, Allison, you were saying something about Bud Dupree and the Steelers and moving on. Yeah.
No, I mean, I pretty much had wrapped that up. But yeah, I mean, Bud, Sam, you had mentioned earlier how and this is not saying that TJ Watt's Michael Jordan, but I'm saying all those Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, they weren't who they are with until they had help. They figured out where it was coming from, or all that jazz. I think that makes sense with the Bud Dupree situation. With TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
Find out if it was TJ or if Bud is just really awesome.
My only disagreement with you is that all Pittsburgh defenders are awesome to me. So I'd take them any day over half.
Absolutely, dogs, man.
I was expecting
they're dogs.
I thought he was going to set up a joke about the Steelers.
There's usually one coming. It might later.
I like Pittsburgh's defense all the time. If I really had something bad to say, I would say it. Believe me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think they have. Blake and I were talking about it last week. I think they have similar problems to what Tampa Bay is experiencing in the secondary and coverage, and it's just like they can't cover shit this year. And last year they were awesome. Last year the Steelers defense had all those parts. You know what I mean? They were great on the pass. They were great in coverage. They were pretty great defending the run. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of teams were up on the Steelers by many, many points because the Steelers' offense was horrible. So a lot of teams were running on the Steelers because they, why pass with 30 points? So I think that their running defense numbers were skewed by that. But this year, they're tops in the league in defending the run. I mean, so Miles Sanders had 76 yards rushing against the Steelers, and 72 of them were on one play. Yeah, so the Steelers are, and that was just a fluke. You know what I mean? They just were caught off guard. Other than that, 4 yards rushing on like 8. It was something crazy. So it's they're really stout there, but the secondary is was trying to say not very good this year, and it's really disappointing. You have names like Micah Fitzpatrick, Steven Nelson, on the team. Terrell Edmonds just sucks. But anyway, so I think they have similar problems to what Tampa Bay is facing. So
run about the same schemes, run blitz, leave corners and man coverage a lot. Absolutely. Blitz with your safeties. There's a lot of similarities in that aspect. But like Sam said, those guys, and as I say to you all the time, Allison, they draft Pittsburgh guys. And the one thing I say is above and beyond why Steelers get home on blitzes is the timing. People don't pay attention to the timing. The way they time the snap counts is when they come in the gap, where they wait till the offensive line has already made their adjustments. They have identified the mic, where they're shifting coverage. And then as soon as you get second before they snap the ball, the guy's blitzing the gap that quickly. And he's creating havoc. If not getting a sack, creating an aerial throw, an interception. You don't always have to get a sack. It's creating an aerial throw. And they're just so good at doing that.
Right. Because you're 1 second off and there's a penalty. You know what I mean? So you can't be jumping the gun. So they really have it this year. Just continue.
Yeah. I said, well, we've been talking for an hour and a half. I'll get you guys out of here. Yeah, I know. I'll get you guys out of here. So Sam, I'll get you on here. Get your last words. What you guys got? What do you guys got for this Monday? It's a doubleheader tonight, isn't it?
I think it was going to be, and then
I thought they canceled one game.
Yeah, you guys might be right. They might. Yeah, right. It changes every week. Hold on, let me double check it here. Week 5.
I think they canceled.
Yeah, it's a New Orleans and I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. And then Tuesday is Bills and the Titans. So who you got for Chargers and Saints tonight, Sam?
I got New Orleans, even though it doesn't matter because San Fran yesterday cost me $3,000 on a 10.
Oh Lord.
We should drop the money, Blake. Drop the money.
I don't think he wants to see that money.
The only game I lost.
Well, I'll loan you a couple Blake bucks there, man, since you lost some money. Oh, you love it there. And usually in that situation, it's kind of a ball situation, so you get a little bit of this too.
Isn't that great, Sam? That is some good stuff. Who do the Bills play again?
The Bills play the Titans, both undefeated, 3-0 and 4-0.
Right, yes.
7 p.m. Tuesday.
It's gonna be that's gonna be the game to watch for sure. I think so anyway, because I don't really care about the Chargers. I mean, I know you want the Saints to lose.
Correct. The Titans been disappointed, especially with Big Money Clowney producing no sacks, underperforming, out of shape, and their defense has given up a lot of points.
They're undefeated though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Don't get me started on the Titans.
They're playing at home.
Yeah, they're playing at home on Tuesday. And
the crowd is really gonna, affect that game.
It is the roars, and the chants, the chants, and the cheerleaders. You'll definitely hear those in the background.
Yes.
Go team.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was awful. That was just awful. Can you put that up on YouTube, Blake?
I might have to take that clip.
Cut it out.
All right, Sammy, we'll get you out of here, brother.
All right, y'all be good. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for entertaining me this afternoon.
We're really thrilled to meet you, Sam. Knowledgeable and all these things.
Yeah, he is. He's worse than I am with plethora of stuff.
You know what I always say, Blake? You can never have enough plethora of stuff.
Oh, well, that's coming from a lady, ladies and gentlemen. And there you have it. So, Sam, we're always here Mondays. You're always welcome to join. And you can jump on if you want.
Definitely.
All right.
Bye, dude.
Now, Allison, last but not least.
Me again. Aww.
Last but not least, go ahead and plug yourself in. I know you working on articles, CBS, taking rips at Big Ben, even after a big performance like that. What else you got going on that you want to tell to the people?
Yeah. Like, I don't mean to get sad because we've had such a good time, but I really want to take this moment to say that I got some news this afternoon that a really dear friend of mine passed away, over 50 years old. I used to work with her for a long time, and hearing the news was just really sad because it's like, obviously with anybody who dies suddenly, anybody who dies, it sucks. But when they die suddenly, and you're just, you talk to them the night before and they're dead the next morning. It's just, it's just wild to think about. So like I said, I don't mean to get sad, but just hug your loved ones because you truly know, when it's gonna be your last time that you're hugging, that you're embracing that loved one. So that being said, if you can check out my work by going to Steelers.com and searching my name in the search box, or if not, I'm all over the place on there. But social media wise, you can find me at writer Allison Koehler on Facebook and at Steelers Wire AK on Twitter.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. She's the hardest working woman in show business every day, all day. I appreciate you having you on another Monday. It was a great one today. I had tons of guests. It was great. Hopefully these guys come back and we chat some more when we do around the NFL talk, and hopefully you got some more articles to put out.
Heck yeah, man. Rock on.
Well, see you in a week, Allison.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And there you have it. Last but not least, I know I'm not as good looking as she is to see on the camera, but you get me for the last bit of the part. You guys had Sam Watson, the plethora of information man coming out of Charlotte, full of information, players and everything. So, all right, if you guys want to chat and ask him some questions, I can get you guys his little social media. You can reach him at, because he's got information for days and stories for days. So some of those he can't say, some of those he can. So with that being said, well, it's as we always do, you're the master of what you do with your life. Everything you do in your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless, and fire those cannons.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up. Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down. But the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. .320 Solar. Power up.